OK, j'ai des mots d'ouverture et puis je suis prêt pour vos questions. Canadians woke up today with a lot of folks really worried about Donald Trump's plans, which are going to hurt people, particularly his plans that he mentioned about across-the-board tariffs. Those are plans that are going to directly impact Canadian workers. It's going to mean loss of jobs for Canadians. It's also going to mean that the cost of things are going to go up at a time when we're already facing unprecedented cost of living rises. So at a time like this, it is now the time to fight back, fight to protect Canadian jobs. We've got to defend Canadian interests. We've got to fight to defend our values. That's what New Democrats are going to do. Donc aujourd'hui, je sais que plusieurs personnes sont inquiétées par les plans de Donald Trump. Le fait qu'il a proposé des plans qui vont heurter les gens. Je pense des tarifs qui vont qui va causer des pertes des emplois au Canada et augmenter le coût de la vie au Canada aussi. Donc aujourd'hui, c'est la journée de se battre pour défendre nos emplois, pour défendre nos intérêts et défendre nos valeurs. Merci.
Pourquoi croyez-vous que Mme Harris n'a pas gagné hier et quelles leçons tirez-vous peut-être en vue de l'élection canadienne?
Je pense qu'il y avait un rêve américain, aussi un rêve canadien, que vous pouvez trouver un bon emploi. Avec ce bon emploi, vous pouvez trouver du logement, avoir un frigo plein de nourriture. Mais malheureusement, ce rêve, ce n'est pas possible, ni aux États-Unis, ni au Canada. Et les gens ont voulu un changement. Donc, c'est clair que les gens ont besoin d'un changement. C'est aussi clair qu'ici au Canada. Et dans les prochaines élections, on doit proposer un changement. Et je veux être clair, les gens sont tannés des libéraux, mais les conservateurs proposent de couper les services dont vous avez besoin. Donc, ce n'est pas le changement qui va aider les gens. Nous, ce qu'on propose, c'est qu'on va réduire les factures pour vos épiceries, réduire le coût de logement en bâtissant, en conduisant du logement abordable. Donc, ça, c'est ce qu'on doit faire.
Le fait que ce soit une femme noire, est-ce que ça peut avoir joué? Certains disent que oui.
Potentiellement, c'est toujours des défis pour des femmes dans les vies politiques, c'est toujours des grands défis pour les personnes racisées. C'est quelque chose que tout le monde sait, qu'il y a des grands défis. Mais ce qui est aussi clair, qu'il y avait des grandes difficultés dans les vies des gens aux États-Unis, une précarité économique qui les gens font face dans leur vie quotidienne. Et c'est les mêmes enjeux qu'on voit ici au Canada. Le fait que c'est difficile, tellement difficile de rejoindre les deux bouts. Les gens ont peur pour l'avenir, au lieu d'avoir d'espoir pour l'avenir. Donc, c'est mon travail de dire on est prêt, de faire tout ce qu'on peut pour bâtir un meilleur avenir. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Des bons emplois, de défendre nos emplois ici au Canada, de réduire le coût de la vie, réduire les factures pour vos épiceries, construire du logement abordable. Ce sont les responsabilités que je prends comme chef du Parti néo-démocrate, important pour l'avenir.
Clarify in English. Can you please clarify? Last time around, we saw a Team Canada approach that included bipartisan work in response to Donald Trump's first presidency. What are you expecting this time? Has the Liberal government asked you to take any role? And what do you want to see them do concretely to respond to Mr. Trump?
Well, I expect that the Prime Minister will come out and state clearly that Donald Trump's plans are wrong. The fact that he has proposed an across-the-board tariff is wrong. That's going to jack up the price of everything. It's going to hurt workers in Canada, and it's going to hurt workers in the United States. It's going to mean increased costs for everybody. So I want to see the Prime Minister come out clearly and say that's wrong. That's a bad plan. That's going to hurt people.
Do you have national security concerns with transition to a Trump White House? Given the relationships we know some of the people around Donald Trump have to Vladimir Putin, are the national security considerations different now going forward?
Certainly, there's a lot of concerns. When I said that his plans are going to hurt people, I think about all the people that could be hurt. I think about Ukraine and Trump administration's approach to Ukraine. I think about Gaza and the fact that if we saw a emboldened Netanyahu who was engaged in a campaign of violence and genocide against the people of Gaza, imagine what that's going to be under a Trump administration with even further supports to engage in that type of activity. I'm deeply worried about what this means across the world. the threats to people's lives and the instability that this could cause. And I think it's more important than ever for Canada to work with our allies to ensure that we are bringing a voice for peace, for diplomacy, and continuing to call for a ceasefire and the release of hostages when it comes to Gaza, to continue to call for Ukraine to be able to defend itself against the aggressions of Russia, and to make sure that we are doing everything possible to create a peaceful future.
Can you clarify though, will you cooperate with the Prime Minister if he asks for it? And can you clarify if he has asked for it?
No, there's not been any conversation. My goals are to defend Canadian jobs, to fight to defend Canadian interests, and to make sure that we are defending our values. I will work to ensure that that happens in any way possible.
Vous avez appelé ce matin, M. Poilievre.
Vous avez refusé
de féliciter M. Trump. Pourquoi?
Trump a gagné les élections. Ma préoccupation maintenant, c'est de défendre des emplois au Canada, de défendre nos intérêts, de défendre nos valeurs.
Mais donc, vous ne le félicitez pas?
J'accepte qu'il a gagné les élections.
Canadian jobs.
How challenging do you think it would be to repeat 2016 term all over again?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really, really problematic. There's a lot of really challenging and problematic things that Mr. Trump has said, things that are going to cause deep, deep fears for people around the world, but here in Canada as well. So I am worried. I'm worried about a potential future negotiation, or a pretty certain renegotiation of CUSMA, and the fact that that was very difficult previously. It's going to be very difficult again. I'm worried about the threats to Canadian jobs right now. I know that those tariff plans literally will mean Canadian jobs could be cut. It could mean an increased cost for everything. And I'm worried about all those things. I think it's a deeply concerning time.
Monsieur Singh, vous voulez pas remercier, vous voulez pas féliciter Monsieur Trump si vous devenez Premier
Want to
ministre.
fight for Canadian jobs. What exactly does that mean from the NDP's perspective? What concrete action should we expect to see from your party?
Well, first you got to stand up and say that his plans are wrong. We got to make it very clear that Trump's plans are wrong, that an across-the-board tariff approach is hurtful to Canadian jobs, it's hurtful to Canadian workers, and it's also hurtful to Americans. And so we need to see a clear position on that, standing up and saying that's wrong. We need to have a plan. What is a plan of approach? Working with allies to come together, preparing our cases. If the Trump administration is going to bring in tariffs that potentially could violate trade agreements, let's prepare our case so that we can tackle that in court and defend Canadian jobs. But we've got to take this seriously. Today is a day to get ready to fight, to protect Canada, to protect our jobs, to protect our values. Merci. Thank you very much.
Premier ministre, est-ce que vous allez féliciter les chefs
Why
d'État?
don't you congratulate him? Is that not ignoring the will of American voters?